Yo, what up, nerds? Brand new week, brand new anime streaming showcase. We've done it 3 weeks in a row. I'm so proud. My heart. As always, thank you for joining me. We're going to look at an anime that is streaming on various websites via Crunchyroll, Hulu, Funimation, Netflix, etc., etc. And this week we're going to look at a more recent series that actually aired in the fall 2017 season that ran into the winter 2017 slash winter 2018 season. It is Houseki no Kuni, aka Land of the Lustrous, which was formerly an Amazon series under their Amazon Strike program, which, as we all know, was a massive failure because Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, decided that you had to have a Prime account in addition to an additional $5 subscription fee, making this, in order to watch this, an $105 affair. It's an absolute mess, but Amazon has done away with Anime Strike. All you need to do is just have Amazon Prime and you can have access to the show. So kudos Amazon, it just took you about a year to get to that point. But anyway, we're going to hop into Land of the Lustrous, talk about it, and let's get on with the episode, you idiot. Houseki no Kuni, or Land of the Lustrous, was a bit of a diamond in the rough, an undiscovered gem, a show that had plenty of polish and shine. Is that enough of these gem puns? When it premiered in late 2017, it ultimately became a highlight of the season upon its finale. And no, despite what you may hear or read, the similarities between this and a show called Steven Universe are a stretch at best. The premises sound identically only on paper. In terms of execution, presentation, and story, they're entirely standalone pieces that just happen to focus on gems. Just want to get that out of the way for everyone. For me personally, Houseki had a lot going against it due to its full CG presentation, as I am a stickler for animation and it's very rare for a full CG anime to actually produce quality final product. It's also completely slipped under the radar as far as its premises sounded not my usual fare, but the production team was a fairly new face to me. Studio Orange has produced a fair amount of content in their short time, but aside from Dimension W, their series simply just aren't familiar to me. Add that to the decision to go with a full CG anime, and the proverbial deck is stacked quite against Houseki. But once I got past these hang-ups, I found a show that in its subtlety and unflappable storytelling has much more underneath. It's hardly subtle in terms of explaining some things, as it can get a tad grandiose and philosophical, but if you take it in patiently, you will be treated to one of the coolest action shows of 2017. The bulk of the series focuses on Phosphophilite, or Phos for short, as the youngest of the gem people, who is asked to get a job by their sensei. Interestingly enough, thanks to the pronoun uses throughout the series, despite using predominantly male pronouns, the gems are essentially sexless. Phos is a tad rambunctious though, and they see their first battle against the Lunarians and the power of what they can hold, as well as their sensei Congo. Despite Phos's gumption, they're one of the weaker gems and they aren't suited for combat, so they're saddled with creating an encyclopedia of their world for their sensei. It's not long before we run the gamut of the world's details are laid out and we're dug further into the Land of the Lustrous. Not to go into too great of detail, despite the world's lush look, the future for the gems isn't as telling. Borrowing from various Buddhist ideals, philosophies, and symbols, Houseki kickstarts a journey for Phos that takes her and her comrades through an unforgettable series of events. Speaking of Phos's comrades, nearly every episode trickles more and more gems to the viewer that showcases their personalities and their charms as we learn more and more, both mysteriously and engagingly. There are tragic and uplifting tales to be told, as some characters displayed hit the usual spokes on the anime trope wheel, but are distinctive enough to be highlighted versus forgotten. My favorite gem in the early episodes is Cinnabar, as they're one of the most heartbreaking creations ever, since, thanks to their mineral composition, they can never be near or close to anyone. As their name implies, Cinnabar deposits mercury sulfide with every step and interaction they take, so they're cast out of society and they are forced to roam the outskirts of the land and scout for any attacking Lunarians. Phos does look past Cinnabar's challenges and aims to befriend them and help them discover a new purpose in their life. It's a great look at an archetype of a character who feels utterly alone and isolated, but of another character that sees worth in them and wants to effect change for the better. As Phos's work grows and grows, the dangers and attacks increase, and it's not long off that we discover the durability of the gems. One such example lies with Dia, who, as you can infer from their name, is a diamond-based mineral, one of the strongest gems around. Unfortunately, their strength comes at a price, as they are strong but not durable. We soon learn that the gems are then ranked based on their strength and durability, and A.S.S is on the lower end. This hardly deters them, as they aim to help and defend as much as possible, but it often ends with them being shattered and they're broken. But as long as your remnants can be gathered and don't fall in the hands of the Lunarians, you can be pieced together and be rebuilt. This, more often than not, hardens the drive of the gems in battle, as they know they're essentially immortal as long as they're able to recover any damaged limbs and get repaired. However, should those limbs or fragments be lost, so are any memories stored there. It's a gnarly give and take to weigh during a battle against the relentless Lunarians. Houseki is a show that's rife with seen but not heard presentation, and it will leave you asking more questions more often than it will ever answer. But sometimes that's okay. It is okay for a series to be a tad open-ended and mysterious, never fully exposing itself and all it has to offer. If you take in Houseki as more of a taste of the world versus an unbridled exploration, your mileage will go further in terms of satisfaction. The chemistry at work within excels the characters and plot to a level not expected from an action series. But Houseki does show there's more to be found than what's on the general surface. That goes for the animation too, as this adaptation has officially become the standout full CG anime show that all others should be measured up against. Now obviously there are full CG films that are subjectively better looking, but their budgets are considerably larger and more hands are in the help creating that. Houseki no Kuni does a lot with what it showcases, and thanks to the choice in going CG versus digital animation, there are some elements added to the battles that work better in CG than traditional animation would. The designs and the flares of the various gems are mostly static, save for some finer details like their hair and their minor body shapes. But in the end, A.S.S makeover creates an almost new character, but brilliantly still showcases her growth and their world's creativity. The choreography feels more real thanks to the realistic approach to the movements, even if the characters are leaping hundreds and thousands of feet in the air and twirling ludicrously in battle. But there's a sense of impact and weight to all of their actions that can indeed come across in traditional animation, but Studio Orange has showcased how it can be done extremely well in full CG. Other touches to the production lies in the sound design and soundtrack. The subtle and important sound effects of the gems clinking and chiming with smaller and larger movements is often forgotten an aspect that's important to help further create a realistic world and presentation. I don't think shows need to go to an extreme where you're literally hearing every single character on screen walking or every one of their movements, but in certain moments and sequences it can really draw a viewer in further to that particular moment. Additionally, the soundtrack of Houseki is suited to every scene wonderfully, especially in battles, as bombastic drums and wind instruments tear across the battlefield and highlight the urgency in a battle. If you can get past the CG look, Houseki no Kuni might very well become a quick favorite. If you're in the mood for a show that likes to pull you in and take its time giving you incremental details while exploring a unique world, Houseki no Kuni could very well be that show. Even if you're like me and you loathe most full CG anime, at least give this the 3 and C go, and then either continue or move on to your next thing. Houseki no Kuni was a true surprise to round out my 2017, and despite how jam-packed 2018 is looking, I think you might be able to squeeze in time for this gem. Alright, so there it is, brand new anime streaming showcase, looking at Land of the Lustrous. Really, I'm going to try and not use as many puns as I have in that review. It's kind of too many. But it was a fun surprise. There was a lot that I took away from that show that going in, my expectations were just rock bottom low. I couldn't expect anything from it. But if you can get past the presentation, you can get past the CGI and all that stuff of it, it is an incredibly well created show. It is fun to watch. The battles are relatively brief, but still have a lot of life in them. There's a look and a style to the world that you don't see that often, and I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't get picked up for another season to sort of close out the entire series, because I think the manga is still ongoing, so they could easily wrap it up there. And I am happy that it is not behind another fucking paywall. I don't get angry with some companies. Amazon, that was really fucking stupid to charge so much money to watch a your scantily amount of anime that you even have as an exclusive was kind of ridiculous, but I'm glad you've learned, you've moved on, and you're allowing it to be a little bit more accessible. So if you can find it on Amazon, which even their anime, trying to find anime on Amazon is kind of a mess. Like they need to work on that too. Amazon Video is not great in terms of browsing, searching, or any of that. But if you know exactly what you want, you can find it. But if you want to be surprised or search around, it is a hassle. And I do not like their website, and I really wish they would develop an app or something better than what they currently have. But anyway, as always, thank you so much to the Laser Time Nerds. Be sure to support them going to their website and their videos and podcasts, all that fun stuff. I'm going to get out of here because I'm still playing video games and I'm going to spend my weekend doing that if I'm not doing anything else. So I will see you nerds around. Take care, dummies.